Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we've had a little bit of fun here behind the scenes, so we're gonna let you in on a couple of our secret adventurers, later on in this interview. But Jillian's gonna continue talking about her Dear God journals. Go ahead.
Yeah, I when I started, I didn't realize how therapeutic this journaling, this vlogging would be. And just talking, because it really is for me. I mean, I know I talk to, through the camera to other people and asking questions and all that. But really, I'm trying to get a sense or gauge of where I'm at in life. And it's like been an uplifting experience for me because everything that I say is real. But at the same time, I'm thinking more about what I'm talking about instead of just saying everything, just like blurting everything out. Um, I think about it more because I'm like, no, that I mean, I know that this is a reality. Some of the things are not very positive, but just because they're not very positive doesn't mean that I'm not positive, and doesn't mean that God's not doing something, and it doesn't mean that life is not good. Just means that there's certain things that I need to work on, and it forced me to put in perspective my life, that I really do have a very, very fulfilled life. There's a lot that's going on that's really good, and that, it's a process. With doing Zumba, it's a process. I'm not going to be overnight. And I started searching out other people. There was a lady that's in Saginaw, Michigan. Her name is Sarah Fector. She has her own studio, and she does her fitness studio there. It's huge. It's this big warehouse type building. But when I checked on how long did it take her to get there, that's what I wanted to key in on. And it was 10 years. Like, she had been doing it for 10 years. And it wasn't just until 3 years ago that she got this building. So for 7 years, this person has been going to and fro doing Zumba at this class and this place and that place. And she says it wore me out. So I just reinvested all my money back into what I wanted to do. And I got myself a building. I got myself this place, and now I have a place for people to come visit me. So now I don't have to go everywhere to do what I do. I just stay put, and I get to make more classes. And so for me, that really showed me I'm in it for the long haul. This is a process, and the day-to-day stuff that I have to go through, it's just a learning experience. It's not the end of the world. It's not so bad that I thought, oh, I don't have what I wanted to have happen or whatever. I did away with it when I started seeing that sometimes you want to talk to people that want to hear you out and they're trying to help you, but if they lack results in the area you're looking for, I realized although they may be listening to you, they may not be the best person to go to.
They may
You
have
might
good
need,
intentions for you and what you're doing. Like, because at the heart of it, it's like it's not that they have ill will towards you, but the reality is they've never succeeded in what they wanted to do. So it's like, how can they help you?
exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
Exactly. Yes.
yeah. Because one of the things I wanted to make sure our listeners knew, and it's not that. One thing I love about what we do is because we talk face to face,
Yeah.
because we spend time together, and one of the things that, I'm so grateful for is a lot of the times when you were going through school, you would invite me along to some of the projects that you would have to do.
Oh, I love
So man, it's like, in fact, we're gonna take our listeners and our viewers back through those places, as our schedule permits, but I'd love to show them some of the jewel places that you took me through and some of the lessons that we both learned together, at the same time. So even though I didn't go through that schooling, I was able to experience it based on your education, you know
Yeah.
so I'm looking forward to, sharing some, behind the scenes and some secret places, not only just in Chicago, but around the nation that we're going to travel through so that people understand there's a different perspective that you can take on about life. You know, it doesn't
Mhm.
have to, because drunkenness, since we touched on that, in the last session, is not just alcohol. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-mm.
It's
Nope.
like you can get drunk with your own intellect. Like so
Ooh.
much, and you can do so much. And, because the society provides us a perspective that, we have everything 24 hours and it's microwave. You know,
Mm.
in my perspective, those can be the actual things that are actually killing you. you
Oh
know
yes.
Killing your vision, killing your dreams. And, it's funny, I was talking with someone else who hadn't seen me in maybe 4 or 5 years, and she was just like, how you doing? And, how are things going? And I'm like, it couldn't even be better right about now.
Yes.
I went through my hell, and I'm coming back, and I'm wiping the dust off of it, and recovering. I said, but things could not be better, because like you were saying earlier, like, you look back on the people that necessarily wouldn't have been part of your vision, but they contributed something to it, and you wouldn't have looked at them because your pride or whatever, your control, your issues, especially you were saying, with your husband, that it's like the little things that you notice, the back to basic
Mhm.
stuff that you notice, were the jewels that still remain after, the season passed.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
oh my goodness. So yeah, so if you don't mind, let's take another journey, with our listeners.
Yes.
That, let's take it back to your fashion experience. Let them in a little bit of basics of, your professional side.
Okay. When I was at the mother church, meaning New Life Covenant, um, oh, I can't think of what it is. We call it the campus, the main mother campus, but it's on the north side with Pastor Wilfredo de Jesus. Um, we were doing dramas, and I loved the dramas, but I always felt like, oh, it's lacking in the, in the clothing department. Like if we could only have somebody who designed them, and it would just bring the character to life more. And I'm praying all this, and I'm like, Lord, I just think that it would be awesome if we could just have somebody come in and do it. And
This
he's
is
like, why
before
not you?
marriage and babies, y'all. So.
Yeah, yeah. This is like, yeah, this is in the midst of Solly and I. I think we had were dating, or maybe we were just freshly married. I'm not even sure. I think we
Okay.
were dating.
Okay.
Um, and so I'm sitting there, and I'm like, God, you could do this. Just bring that person. He's like, why not you? And I'm like,
Me?
uh, I was just kidding. Never mind. I don't want to pray.
Yeah, my vision's kind of, you know how they just wander everywhere, Lord.
And I was just like, I was praying for her, and he's like, why not you? And I was like, okay, whew, okay. And I started really thinking about it seriously after I had gotten married, and I was just telling my husband, I'm like, I think I want to go to school for fashion, which was something that I was just like, really, Jillian, like really, really.
Like, are you
And
for
I was
real?
like,
For real?
yeah. But this passionate thing inside of me just wouldn't go away. It wouldn't slough off, because I knew that, first of all, I knew from a very young age. I was in second grade before I ever knew Christ. Um, I had this art teacher. She had told us that there's this contest. We had to go and do this poster, and I want you to go and put something down with music. You could do anything you want, whatever comes to mind, and you see it, just draw it out, and we're gonna have this contest. And I think there were tickets to a theater. I think it was Swan Lake or something like that. So I wanted to go, and I was really excited because it was a ballet
You're
thing.
starting to break up on us again.
Oh, I am. Let me
Yeah,
move.
there you are.
Okay. So it was basically going to um, the the ballet. So I was like, oh, I'm all in it because I wanted to go see that. So I ended up writing and drawing. At first, I didn't know what to do, and then I realized I'm going to do a theater because that's what I want when I grow up. I wanna own a theater. And so I'm over here drawing it, and all my family's in it. My mom still has the thing too, um, the poster. And so I had them doing, all of the stuff, getting everything ready. And I had, a piano in the corner of the thing. I had, like these note things that they were hanging, and I was playing the flute. And I didn't play the flute. I actually do play the flute now, but I didn't play the flute back then, which was
Wow.
hilarious to me. And so here, everybody, all my family's helping me with, setting up everything in the theater. Fast forward to being in dramas and them doing the dramas at church, um, it just made me think, like, that's what I've always wanted to do. So why not do this fashion thing right now? And so I go and I'm checking out schools, and I go to AI, and I was like, okay, should I go to this school, Lord? I'm not sure, and it's very expensive. Anybody who goes to AI, that's expensive. That's an investment. So I what didn't draw me from to there was the fact that the pictures, when I saw the students' work, it wasn't speaking to me. There was nothing. I was like, there's no inspiration here. So if there's no inspiration here, how can I, how are you going to draw inspiration from me or help me gather some inspiration? I don't see it. So I was like, okay. So then I go over to what is it called? International Academy of Design and Technology, which is a long, so we call it we call it IADT, or yes, what is it? I forget. Anyways, so that's my school, and I go in there, and I go on the fourth floor. The um, elevator opens up, and right in front in their showcase is this beautiful medieval ball gown that this woman had made, this one of the seniors had made. And I was like, this is it. Yup.
I have reached the mothership.
Yes. Because that one dress spoke to me that it is possible, because you can't do costume design. They don't have classes for that. There isn't any. And if there is, please let me know.
In the
Because
comment section down below, people.
right, exactly. Just let me know, because I have yet to find across the country anything that has to do with costume design. If you're going to do costume design, you have to go through fashion design. That's
Mm,
just the way it is.
mhm,
So, and that's what I told them. I want to do costume design. So they were like, no, you have to go through fashion school. So I was like, all right, whatever.
mhm,
So I see this lady's gown that she has from medieval. It was medieval Renaissance, because she had a little flavor of both, which I loved because she took from both.
mhm,
Um, but it was something that I grabbed onto, because I was like, if she could do that and they would display that, then I have a place here. Because it was in that costume range. So then I get in there, and I started learning draping, and I started learning pattern drafting and grading and illustration, which is drawing, your croquis, and great teachers. Not to mention the other classes that I had, critical thinking. I love those classes. Another class, I forget what it was called, but it was a great class about, public speaking and stuff like that, and trying to get your vision across. So that was a great class. And then there was another lady with art theory, or color theory. That's what it was called, color theory. And I never knew how to make mix colors the way that she did. And I was like, this is bananas. I'm learning all this stuff, and I was taking it all in. I was just like, oh my God, I'm like a kid in a candy store. And I wasn't good at a lot of the stuff that was, being thrown at me at the time. I was like, I'm just not good at this. This is just ugh. But I was like, no, but you have to force yourself to do this, because you're just gonna get better and better and better. You have the vision. And one thing that I realized was that I would write down my ideas of what I wanted to do, and because I hadn't got to it yet, I would see it out there in the world, and it was making a lot of money. I remember seeing, like, I wanted to do this thing, this little ruffle things around the bottom of a jacket in the back. Started seeing that out there,
Oh
and I was
yeah, the
like,
pendulum look. Mm.
yes, yes.
Mhm.
And that really that made it big. People still buying those kind of jackets because they
Hello.
love them. They look really pretty.
And very
And so,
feminine.
yes,
Mhm.
exactly. So that was an idea before it ever came out. I had that idea in my head. So I this is what I realized. I realized that I have a vision for fashion. I may not be able to execute it as well as I want to, but I have the vision, and nobody can take vision away from you. That's the one thing that I realized. Nobody can take that gift or what God has given you. They can't take it away. They can execute it better than you, maybe, but they can't take the vision away from you. So that's why I'm learning to protect things that are my vision. Because in my 20s, I would talk about what I wanted to do and da 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 da. And then I realized in my 30s, I'm like, shut your mouth, be quiet. Like, don't say nothing. If you are not doing it right now, don't say nothing, okay?
Now let me ask you this: what caused you to do that?
Because when you start talking about things that you're not doing, people are gonna look at you differently. They're gonna look at you like you're all talking, no game. You're not doing nothing with it. Don't talk to me about it if you're not gonna do it. And it made me really think that, basically uh it goes back to your character. You don't want to tarnish your character. And that's one thing. If you start talking about things you want to do in the future, but you're not doing them now, in some way, shape, or form, it tarnishes who you are because people don't want to trust you when you're not doing what you say you're going to do. Like right now, I could talk about Zumba all day long because I'm doing it. And I could talk about that, or mothering or parenting or homeschooling. I'm doing it. But when you're not in the midst of what of something that you want to do in the future, uh it's almost like you have hypothetical, and you can only talk in hypothetical for only so long, and then people are like, I'm tired of listening to all of it. They want to hear some results from what you're doing. And so I realized that's just, it's a dead end. It's a dead end to do that for yourself. It's better to just uh, be quiet about it, keep it under wraps, and when you're ready, for everything, keep preparing, preparing, preparing. And then once you finally do it, launch it, and then you can tell everybody about it. You could tell them what you're doing. You could tell them how you're doing it, to a point, because I don't tell everybody everything that I do. But
And then on
yeah.
top of that, for security reasons, there's just because a lot of times, and that's why I love what we're doing, because God sends you people that eventually, like you're saying, you can get burned a few times by telling your vision before time, and people, sabotage it, just like we were mentioning in the previous conversation, that everybody is not ready for just the practical everyday working of a vision. You see what I'm saying? Because
Hmm.
because it's like, for security reasons, it's not that you keep it hidden to the point where, you get off into thinking, because people get off into thinking like, you need to come back to a reality here. you know
Yeah.
and it's like, because we can, like you said, you're homeschooling, you've got all this education, but it's like you're using that in your everyday. There's
Oh,
no, like,
sure.
there's no imagination, fantasy kind of thinking where it doesn't come to life.
Mhm.
So that's where I go, like, I loved it that, you were able to take me along on some of the projects, because it's like a lot of the world that we have embraced, that has manifested, is a very fantasy kind of thinking, like, that size woman really doesn't exist. you know
Yep.
she's really, her lifestyle doesn't exist either, but we put it out there in media, social media. Even in that, like, I can present a certain facets of my life and let you know how things are going without, having to expose my whole life to you. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
everything
Yes.
everything about my life is not your business. you know
Mhm.
and for security reasons, I have to protect certain things about my life, because it belongs to my family. You see what I'm saying? You're not
Yes.
gonna allow people to come to your home, take from your refrigerator, take the toys that your kids have, take, and leave the house empty. Are you kidding me?
Right.
And that's what people do with your mind sometimes. They come and invade your thoughts, take whatever they want for themselves, and then leave you hanging. But that's a
Yeah.
whole nother conversation that we definitely will be revisiting for the fall
Mhm.
season. Because
Those
Jillian,
vultures.
yes, they are, and they wait till your dream is dying because they know specifically the time to pinpoint you. That's a whole nother. We have to realize that everybody is not for you. So like
Nope.
you say, in your 20s, you're telling everybody your visions and your dreams when maybe they've never gotten to a place where they even thought about their visions or their dreams.
Yeah, yeah.
Culturally, like we were saying, I'm trying to remember some of the things that we shared and didn't share. so, so culturally, we talk about, like, me being African American, literally from Africa, raised in America. Jillian, her background is mixed with Puerto Rican. I forget there's a couple other nationalities that you
Yeah.
have. Yeah, but
Yeah.
in that, we went to this fashion show one time, and
Oh.
she was just like sharing with me how it's like you can't stand how they portray the Puerto Rican woman as this, sexual kitten. And you're just like,
Yes.
okay, Puerto Rican women do have brains. Puerto Rican women do know how to structure their home in a godly kind of manner, but you'll never see that on television.
Nope.
You
Mm-mm.
see what I'm saying? So it's like when Jillian does what she does, I really appreciate the practical, everyday, she allows us into her world, to see some of the creative content that she pulls together to make it happen because it's gotta come from a mixture of things. It just doesn't come from flipping through a book and say, oh, there's the recipe for that day. Even in the word, you have to search the word, you have to study the word, you have to seek, counsel, you have to seek godly wisdom. So even in all of that, you still have to make your decision on what you plan on doing with your day. Just today, what are you going to eat for breakfast? You got to have dinner
Yep.
some point. If you plan on meeting with people, you got to wash up. I like to do pajama days sometimes where it's like, you know
Oh
what?
yes.
We're not doing anything today, but we're hanging out. And you need that downtime. So I
Yeah.
know that I threw out a lot of, different things, and during our interview, but I just look forward to what we have planned for the fall season. I even have some things to share with Jillian that you listeners will be a part of for 2016 as we move onward. But Jillian, if people want to get in touch with you based on their lifestyle and what they want to improve, not just fitness, but also maybe they're involved in fashion and would like some counseling, where can they get in touch with you?
You can always email me. It's everything lowercase. Jillian, Jillian as in Nancy, dot Garza, Garza, 6 at gmail.com.
Alrighty, listeners, thank you so much for having a cafe con leche. I was going to say con leche kind of conversation. But, it's just a time where if you drink tea, go ahead and drink tea. Don't write me any letters. Don't send me any emails. But this is definitely a season and time where we sit down with some of the women that blog and, vlog and have a social media aspect to their lifestyle. But we look forward to the spring and getting out there and showing you a little bit more of what we're all about. Until then, God bless and take care.